Picture this. A chill night turns wild when a birthday surprise lights up the room. Candles, wine, a jaw-dropping red dress. Tensions flare, eyes lock, and a single whisper flips everything upside down. What starts as a quiet evening spirals into a moment so electric, it'll leave you shook. Want to know how it all explodes? Stick around. This story's just heating up. Some moments in life flip everything upside down. Looking back, you realize it all started so chill, so normal. But normal never stays that way, right? My story kicked off on a random evening. Just me and my stepson, Jake Carter, sprawled out in the living room. The vibe was quiet. Too quiet. Ever since Emily's passing 2 years back, I'd been hustling to glue my shattered life back together, sipping coffee on the go like it's my lifeline, rocking my faded denim jacket. But here's the thing. I hadn't clocked how much Jake had changed. Maybe I didn't want to see it. We were glued to this action flick, explosions, romance, the works. Jake, now 21, was kicked back on the couch next to me, arms stretched out like he owned the place, his backward baseball cap screaming laid-back vibes. The TV flickered, casting shadows across the room, and for the first time, I really saw him. Those broad shoulders, that sharp jawline. He wasn't some kid anymore. Dude was a man now, no question. I shook it off quick. He's my stepson, Jill, I told myself, brushing my messy ponytail out of my face. But that night, I had no clue those little pep talks wouldn't hold up. The movie got wilder, car chases, tension building. Jake shifted, tossing an arm across the back of the couch, inching closer. The air felt thick, like he was about to drop something big, but he held back. Then our eyes locked. Whoa. There was this depth in his stare, dark brown eyes catching the glow from the screen. My stomach flipped. Part of me screamed, "Nah, it's nothing. Just the movie messing with you." But when his breath brushed my cheek, dude, he'd slid that close. I couldn't play dumb anymore. His hand hovered near my shoulder, so close I could feel the heat. My heart was pounding like a drum solo. This was weird, right? Uncomfortable, but kinda thrilling. No way was I admitting that out loud. "Sarah," he said, his voice low, almost shaky, cutting through the sound of gunfire on TV. "I gotta tell you something." I turned to him, my coffee-stained mug still warm in my hands. "Yeah, Jake, what's up?" He swallowed hard, his cap tilting as he leaned in. "After Emily, you've been there, you know. You didn't have to stick around, but you did. I never felt alone in this creaky old house because of you." His words hit me like a truck. The room felt smaller, the dim light from the lamp making his tan skin glow. I forced a smile, fighting the lump in my throat. "I'm glad you're here too, dude." But he didn't break eye contact. "No, for real," he said, his voice dropping deeper. "You being here, it keeps me grounded." The vibe shifted, heavy, electric. He must have felt it too, 'cause he pulled his arm back a bit, but those eyes, still locked on mine. My pulse was racing, thoughts spinning out of control. I tried to keep it cool, keep that line between us clear. He's my stepson, right? But something had sparked, and I couldn't unsee it. At 21, Jake wasn't the lanky kid I'd raised. He was tall, built, and let's be real, kinda hot. Still my stepson, though. I clung to that thought, shoving down the chaos bubbling inside me. Days later, Jake started acting different. Breakfast wasn't just quiet cereal munching anymore. He'd chat up a storm, his eyes glued to me like I was the only person in the room. One morning, I was scrubbing the kitchen floor, sunlight blasting through the smudged window, when he strolled in. "Sarah, let me help," he said, snagging the was his new side hustle. Dude had never jumped in like this before. "Sarah, I know you run this whole house solo," he said, locking those deep brown eyes on mine, his backward cap bobbing as he moved. "You're just one person. You need a hand." His words hit me like a surprise espresso shot. "Thanks, Jake," I mumbled, trying to hide the little shake in my voice as I clutched my coffee cup. Warmth spread through me, though. Him noticing I'd been holding it all together. That meant something. Later, I was in the kitchen, chopping veggies, the afternoon sun blasting through the streaky window. I could feel Jake's stare burning into me. He was leaning against the counter, arms crossed, rocking a faded hoodie. But this wasn't his usual chill vibe. His eyes roamed over my ripped jeans, my curves, up to my messy ponytail. At first, I brushed it off. "Sarah, you're tripping," I told myself, flipping my hair back. But nah, that intensity, it was real. I tried acting normal, slicing carrots like it was no big deal, but a sneaky thrill buzzed inside me. It had been forever since anyone looked at me like that. When he finally left the room, I bolted to the bathroom mirror. At 33, I still had it. Slim waist, killer hips, toned from my morning runs. My light brown curls tumbled over my shoulders, framing my face just right. I smirked at my reflection. Not bad, huh? Something was shifting inside me, and Jake's vibe was making it loud and clear. Days passed, and his stares didn't quit. Sometimes it was a quick glance, sometimes just a hey that lingered too long. He was testing the line between us, and the crazy part, I kinda liked it. That night, lying in bed, the ceiling fan humming above me, one thought wouldn't leave me alone. Jake wasn't a kid anymore. At 21, he'd turned into this sharp, good-looking guy, tan skin glowing under the lights. My excitement about that hit me harder than I expected. I knew it deep down. Things were about to get messy, and there'd be no going back. One evening, I walked in after a long day, and bam, my jaw hit the floor. Candles everywhere, flowers spilling over the table, the whole living room screaming romance. Jake had pulled off a birthday surprise I never saw coming. At first, I couldn't believe it was for me. This felt like something you'd do for a date, not your stepmom. Then he strolled in, rocking a crisp white tee and dark jeans. His cap flipped backward like always. Dude looked sharp, oozing charm. I couldn't peel my eyes off him. "Wanted to make today dope for you," he said with a sly grin, handing me a sleek black box. I popped it open. A jaw-dropping red dress stared back at me. Smooth fabric, bold open back, a slit that'd show some leg. My heart raced, a mix of whoa and wait, what? "You got this for me?" I asked, wide-eyed. "It's your birthday, Sarah," he said, cool as ever. "You deserve something fire. It's gonna look insane on you." His stare didn't waver, and I grabbed the dress, darting to my room. Standing in front of the mirror, that red fabric hugged me like a second skin. It had been ages since I wore anything this fierce. My legs peeked out through the slit, my waist and back popping in all the right ways. I spun around, catching the glow of the bedside lamp on my tan skin. After a beat, I smirked and muttered, "This is nuts. I'm dressing up for Jake, but damn, I look good." Staring harder, I faced facts I'd ignored for years. At 33, this dress made me feel 25 again, alive and kicking. At 33, I still had that smooth vibe going, my light brown curls bouncing down my shoulders, framing my face like a soft filter. Slipping into that red dress Jake got me. It lit a fire I hadn't felt in ages. I took a deep breath, steadying my coffee cup grip, and strutted back to the living room. Jake's eyes locked on me, unblinking, like I'd just walked into a spotlight. That stare, it was pure wow, and it threw me off big time. "Dude, I owe this to you," I said with a grin, tugging at the dress. "This fit's unreal." But his gaze was intense, and I looked away quick, feeling my cheeks heat up under all that attention. "You're not wrong," Jake shot back, his voice steady, cap flipped backward as always. "You look straight up gorgeous in that." My pulse kicked into overdrive. I laughed it off. "You're hyping me up too much, bro." But inside, I was shook. He waved me over to the table he'd set up, 2 wine glasses glinting in the candlelight, a bottle of red smack in the middle. For a sec, I blinked like, wait, this isn't a birthday vibe. This is date night territory. I kept my mouth shut, though. The glow of the candles and soft music spilling from the speakers had me hooked. Jake popped the cork, pouring the wine with this smooth confidence. The rich taste hit my tongue as we started chatting. First about the old days, Emily, and how life flipped upside down. But as the night rolled on, he steered it somewhere deeper. "Sarah," he said, his tone soft but heavy, cutting through the tunes. "How's a woman like you still flying solo? I don't get it." I met his eyes, totally thrown. "Jake, being alone isn't always a choice. Life just deals you that card sometimes," I said, shrugging. But his stare, it was loaded. "You don't have to be alone," he replied, sipping his wine. "A woman like you's got needs, Sarah, and I'm right here." My words stuck in my throat. That hit me harder than I'd ever admit. I grabbed my glass, taking a shaky sip, eyes glued to him. This wasn't just a birthday thing anymore. It was morphing into something wild. Jake set his glass down, leaning in. "Sarah, you're unreal. I wanted tonight to be epic for you, 'cause you deserve it," he said, his voice low but firm. I twirled my glass, flashing a shy smile. "Your words are sweet, dude, but sometimes I wonder why you're going so hard for this." He raised an eyebrow, smirking. "'Cause you're worth it. You're not just my stepmom. You're way more than that." His tone had this depth that floored me. For a beat, we just stared, the silence cranking up the tension. My heart was hammering, but I couldn't break the moment. Then Jake stood, circling the table like he owned the room, stopping right by me. He leaned in close, one hand resting on the table's edge, his tan skin catching the flicker of the flames. "Sarah, you shouldn't be stuck with someone who doesn't see your worth," he said, voice steady. "No one should sleep on a woman like you." I opened my mouth to reply, but nothing came out. My brain was scrambled. Before I could sort it, he leaned closer, his breath warm against my ear. "I can't hide how I feel anymore," he whispered. Then his lips brushed mine. Boom, everything spun. Heat, connection, something I hadn't felt in years. His hand slid to my waist, pulling me in tight. Shock hit first, but then I leaned into it. Our lips locked like the world stopped spinning. Reality crashed back fast, though. I pulled away, breathless, voice shaky. "Jake, this ain't right. I gotta bounce." I stumbled over the words, bolting for my room. He watched me go, taking a slow breath. "Sarah, I'm sorry. I couldn't hold it back," he said, calm but intense. I didn't stop. I hit my room, slammed the door, and leaned against it, chest heaving. My heart was racing like crazy as I slid down to sit on the edge of my bed, trying to wrap my head around what just went down. I stared into the bathroom mirror, the soft glow barely cutting through the haze. "How'd it come to this?" I whispered, fidgeting with my ponytail. My head was buzzing. Wine didn't help, and I shuffled to bed, still clutching my coffee mug. When I hit the pillow, the night's whirlwind pulled me under, and I passed out. But the night wasn't done teasing me. A faint creak jolted me awake. My eyes caught a shadow by the door. It swung open slow, and there was Jake Carter, his tan skin catching the moonlight, cap flipped backward like always. "Sarah," he murmured, voice quiet but firm. My heart kicked up as he stepped in, easing the door shut. "I know I shouldn't be here," he said, "but I can't shake this." His eyes held this raw spark, hinting the night had more in store. My chest was pounding. I met his gaze, and years of bottled-up vibes just spilled out. "Jake," I said, voice wobbly but real. "I feel it too. I want this." His face flashed with shock and a grin, boosting my nerve. I smirked, shutting my eyes for a sec to chill. "Let's not overthink it," I said, hands brushing my shoulders. I tugged the straps of that red dress loose, letting it slip just enough to feel free. Jake's breath caught, his stare full of awe, sending a thrill through me. He stepped closer, no hesitation, and our lips met, soft, quick, but loaded with feeling. The world faded out for a second. His hands hovered near my waist, pulling me in just enough to feel the warmth. Then he eased back, guiding me toward the bed with a gentle nudge. I sat on the edge, eyes locked on his tall frame, that vibe totally reeling me in. Jake peeled off his shirt, tossing it aside, then leaned in close. His fingers grazed my cheek, lingering near my lips, and every wall we'd built just crumbled. Right then, I felt something I hadn't in years, pure connection. I gripped the sheets, eyes fluttering shut, soaking in the rush. When I looked up, Jake's flushed face and broad shoulders filled the frame, and I couldn't pull away. My hands brushed his back, fingers pressing light in a quick spark of energy. His pulse raced under my palm. I felt it on his chest, and we both just let go. We sank into the moment, collapsing side by side, breathless. He flopped next to me, and as we lay there, I drifted off, lost in the vibe. That night flipped my world. I'd never been happier, and it was just the start. Stick around, 'cause this tale's got more coming. You're hooked now, right? There's a ton left to drop, and you won't want to miss it. Hey guys, if you like this story, don't forget to smash that like button. It really helps me out. And yo, hit subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think.